Research 10. Tonight, we need to talk about something you've probably felt, but maybe never understood. Why is it that some nights you try to fall asleep early and somehow end up wide awake at 1:13 a.m. doing absolutely nothing productive? Why do some mornings feel effortless while others feel like you're clawing your way out of a crater? Why does your brain hold a staff meeting the second your head hits the pillow, after ignoring you all day? And why, despite your best intentions, does "tomorrow I'll finally get my life together" keep turning into "tomorrow I'll try again"? If any of that feels familiar, here's the twist you never saw coming. You don't have a morning problem. You have a nighttime architecture problem. After digging through hours of experts, sleep scientists, productivity coaches, behavioral psychologists, creators, and doctors, a strange thing happened. They all kept pointing to the same 10 patterns, 10 hidden laws of nighttime success, 10 levers that quietly determine whether you wake up energized or defeated before you even begin. And once you see these 10 laws, you'll realize you've been fighting biology with willpower, and biology always wins. So tonight, let's decode these insights one by one, not as hacks, not as aesthetic routines, but as the research-backed system that high performers use, whether they know it or not. Let's start where every great night begins. Insight 1. Consistency isn't a habit. It's an operating system. Here's a question that might sting a bit. Have you ever tried fixing your sleep by going to bed early? Once? And then wondered why the next night your body refused to cooperate? This happens because your body doesn't follow your intentions. It follows your rhythm. Across almost every expert we studied, one truth came up so often it felt like cheating. A consistent sleep and wake time is the single strongest predictor of deep, restorative sleep. Not supplements, not gadgets, not Himalayan salt lamps handcrafted by monks. Just rhythm. Your circadian clock is basically your internal project manager. When bedtime is stable, melatonin rises on schedule. Core temperature drops on schedule. Stress hormones calm down on schedule. Your brain begins shutting off before you even get into bed. When bedtime floats around like a confused tourist, your biology panics. It has no idea when to wind down, so it doesn't. One expert put it bluntly: you can't brute force your way into sleep if your internal clock thinks it's noon. Here's the good news. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. Life exists. Kids exist. Late dinners exist. The goal isn't a military curfew. It's a predictable window your body can trust. Think of consistency like the foundation of a house. No matter how good the furniture is, nothing works if the floor keeps shifting. And here's the secret the research revealed. When your timing becomes stable, even by 30 minutes, every other part of your night routine suddenly gets easier. Your wind down works better. Your mind shuts off faster. Your sleep becomes deeper. Your mornings become smoother. Consistency is the first domino. Knock it down, and the rest start falling into place. Insight 2. Light isn't a vibe. It's a hormone switch. Let's address a villain that hides in plain sight. A villain you willingly invite into your home every night. A villain so powerful it can override your biology with one simple signal: light. Here's the science in one sentence. Light kills melatonin. Darkness produces it. That's it. The entire sleep system gets completely confused because you're blasting your eyes with a miniature sun called your phone. When experts kept repeating this, it almost sounded comical. One called blue light, the serial killer of sleepiness. Another compared walking into a modern living room at night to stepping inside a light bulb. A third said most people don't have insomnia, they have late-night sunlight syndrome. And they're right. Your body needs at least an hour of reduced light to transition into night mode. But instead, most people follow the 0 to 100 plan. 0 minutes of wind down, 100% brightness from a 6-inch LED billboard. Why am I still awake? To fix this, experts across the board recommended the same simple, wildly effective sequence. 2 hours before bed, dim the environment. 1 hour before bed, no screens. 30 minutes before bed, enter cave mode. Warm, soft, gentle lighting. Nothing intense, nothing stimulating. It's not about aesthetics, it's about chemistry. Your brain needs darkness to produce melatonin, the hormone that tells your entire system, we're done for today. Without darkness, your internal clock thinks you're prepping for a midnight presentation. But here's the twist that almost every expert highlighted. Your evening routine actually starts in the morning. Morning sunlight stops leftover melatonin, resets your circadian rhythm, starts the countdown timer for tonight's sleepiness. Meaning, if you avoid sunlight in the morning and sit in bright light at night, congratulations, you've successfully installed the exact opposite rhythm your body needs. Light is not decoration, it is control. And if you manage light, you manage sleep. Insight 3. Clear today, program tomorrow. Now let's talk about your brain. You know that moment when you lie down and suddenly your mind becomes a hyperactive child with 47 questions? Did you reply to that email? What if you forget that thing tomorrow? Should you rearrange your entire life right now? Your brain isn't tormenting you, it just thinks the day is unfinished. Across nearly every transcript, experts emphasized one truth. Your mind cannot shut down when it feels like you haven't. And that's where reflection and planning come in. This 2-part ritual is one of the most powerful psychological tools in the entire night routine universe. Here's why. Part 1. Reflection. Empty the mental backpack. Whether it's 2 minutes or 10, take a moment to review your day. What went well? What didn't? What you learned? What you want to improve? This isn't journaling for Instagram. It's cognitive unloading, literally removing mental clutter so it stops bouncing around your skull like a pinball. Some creators paired this with gratitude. Others used simple prompts. All agreed, reflection quiets the mind. Part 2. Planning. Tomorrow begins tonight. Planning your next day sounds small, but it produces massive benefits. Eliminates morning decision fatigue. Makes tomorrow feel pre-started. Reduces anxiety. Creates momentum before the day even begins. Helps your brain close the tab. One expert said it beautifully. When you plan tomorrow tonight, your morning isn't a negotiation, it's a continuation. Lay out clothes, set up bags, identify your top 1 to 3 priorities. Write the next step for your most important task. This isn't productivity culture. This is psychological closure. Reflection clears yesterday. Planning programs tomorrow. Together, they give your brain permission to rest. Insight 4. Your body has 2 modes: fight the day or recover from it. All day long, your body is in sympathetic mode, your built-in go-do things system. It pushes you through conversations, deadlines, kids, commutes, arguments, caffeine, stress, all of it. But here's the catch. You cannot fall asleep while your body is running the same settings you use to survive the daytime. You need to switch into parasympathetic mode, the state of calm, recovery, digestion, and healing. Think of it like this. Your body has a day engine and a night engine. Most people try to sleep using the day engine and then wonder why nothing happens. Across the experts, 5 techniques appeared again and again, almost hilariously consistent, because they work. 1. Lower your core temperature. This is one of the most misunderstood sleep triggers. Your body must cool down to fall asleep. That's why. Warm showers 60 to 90 minutes before bed. Hot baths 2 to 3 hours before bed. A cooler bedroom 60 to 67 degrees, 15 to 19 degrees. All appeared across almost every transcript. It sounds backwards, but warm water makes your body cool down faster afterward. This triggers the same physiological signal melatonin uses to start the power off sequence. 2. Progressive muscle relaxation. This technique showed up in multiple expert routines. You tense and release each muscle group from toe to head. Sounds simple? Feels like magic. It reduces tension, lowers heart rate, and tells your body, hey, you can stop bracing for impact now. 3. No stimulants, no chaos. Experts were very clear on this one. No late caffeine, no high-intensity exercise, no stressful messages, no emotionally heavy conversations, no doom scrolling. Basically, if it raises your heart rate, makes you angry, or sends you into an existential crisis, it's banned from the last hour of your day. Your nervous system deserves peace. 4. Mind dumping. A simple notebook can outperform melatonin gummies, white noise machines, and relaxation apps. Write everything floating in your head. Worries, tasks, reminders, ideas, random thoughts. Your brain relaxes the moment it trusts the paper. 5. Slow breathing and mindfulness. A few slow breaths, a quiet moment, a gentle pause. Not enlightenment, just space. Across the experts, the message was identical. Stillness isn't the absence of thought, it's the management of thought. Your parasympathetic system is the gateway to sleep. These practices are the key. Insight 5. Your bedroom should send one message. We sleep here. Deep sleep isn't just a condition, it's an association, a learned connection between your environment and your state, which leads to a harsh but honest question. Does your bedroom feel like a sleep sanctuary, or like a storage closet that also happens to contain a mattress? Across nearly every transcript, experts emphasized environmental cues because your brain is always scanning for signals. Here are the cues that mattered most. 1. True darkness, not kinda dim, not I turned my lamp sideways. Actual darkness. Even tiny amounts of light can confuse your biological clock. Some experts allowed minimal red light or night lights, but the consensus was simple. Darkness is non-negotiable. 2. Cold room, warm bed. Target temperature 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, 15 to 19 degrees Celsius. Cool air plus cozy bedding equals deep sleep. Warm room plus warm body equals fragmented, fragile sleep. Your comforter should hug you. Your air should not. 3. A quick cleanup that signals day over. Clutter creates mental noise. A clean room creates calm. Experts weren't promoting perfection, Just a 2 to 5 minute reset. Clear surfaces. Make the bed. Put things where they belong. It tells your brain, we're ending the day now. 4. Upgrade comfort. High performers take their sleep environment seriously. Better pillows, supportive mattress, comfortable bedding. These tiny changes create huge improvements. One creator joked that he turned his room into a sleep paradise, but then admitted, "It's the best investment I ever made." 5. Remove electronics like they owe you money. No TV, no laptop, phone on silent or in another room. Your bed should not double as a movie theater, a social media research lab, a texting battlefield. Your bedroom should train your brain. This is where we rest. Insight 6. Rituals build identity, not just routines. Here's a dirty secret about habits. Most people fail not because the habit is hard, but because the habit has no identity behind it. A night routine is not a checklist. It's a signal, a repeated cue your brain learns to interpret as, the day is ending now. And across the experts, one message came through loud and clear. Consistency beats intensity. Ritual beats effort. Identity beats motivation. When you perform the same actions in the same order every night, even something simple like dimming lights, tidying the space, brushing teeth, writing a reflection, reading a page, your brain begins to treat the routine like a guided descent. A father with young kids put it perfectly. My night routine works because I don't negotiate with it. I just follow the steps. A sleep doctor said, add one new habit each month, not 10 at once. Experts agreed. A great night routine becomes automatic when it becomes yours. Ritual is repetition with meaning, and meaning is what transforms behaviors into identity. Insight 7. What you consume at night determines who you become by morning. You can have the most aesthetic bedtime routine on earth, but if your evening inputs are wrong, your biology never even gets a chance. Experts across all 10 sources agreed on this. Your nighttime system lives or dies by 4 major inputs. Let's break them down. 1. Caffeine timing, the silent saboteur. Here's a number you'll never forget. Caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours. Translation: your 2 p.m. coffee is still partying in your bloodstream at 8 p.m. Your 8 a.m. coffee? Still partially there at bedtime. One expert said it perfectly. People don't realize they're asking their brain to sleep while literally blocking the chemical that creates sleepiness. Almost every creator repeated the rule. No caffeine after noon. A few allowed 2 p.m. as a hard limit. None suggested evening caffeine unless your goal is to stare at the ceiling, questioning your life choices. 2. Late night eating, midnight snacks, morning regret. When you eat too close to bedtime, heart rate stays elevated, body temperature rises, digestion disrupts sleep cycles, acid reflux chances skyrocket. Your brain receives a stay awake and digest signal. One transcript even cited research showing a 44% increase in nighttime awakenings when meals occur too late. The universal guideline: finish eating 3 hours before you plan to sleep. Let your stomach clock out for the night. 3. Evening exercise. Great for your body, terrible for your sleep. High-intensity training spikes adrenaline, cortisol, and core temperature, all of which scream, "Hey, we're being chased by a bear." This is not the vibe you want at 9:30 p.m. Experts repeated the same rule. Avoid intense workouts within 3 hours of bedtime. Light stretching? Yes. Gentle yoga? Even better. Jiu-jitsu at 8 p.m.? Congratulations, you just bought yourself a 1 a.m. bedtime. 4. Psychological inputs, notifications, messages, doom scrolling. Your mind cannot transition into sleep mode while processing outrageous news, comment sections, work emails, emotional texts, social media comparisons. One creator joked, "Nothing ruins sleep like getting a stressful message at 10 p.m. Suddenly, you're wide awake solving world peace." Experts were unanimous. If it spikes your emotions, it delays your sleep. Protect your mental space like it's sacred, because it is. Insight 8. Your mind won't shut off unless you give it a job. Every person reading this has experienced the same moment. Your head hits the pillow, your body becomes still, and your brain says, "Perfect, now we think of everything." Why does this happen? Experts across the board revealed the answer. Your brain hates a vacuum. If you don't give it a task, it assigns itself one. Here are the mental tools that repeatedly showed up across the transcripts. 1. Cognitive refocusing. This is not think positive thoughts. It's giving your brain a neutral, non-emotional task. Examples: visualize walking through a peaceful place. Replay a favorite movie scene. Recite song lyrics. Imagine cooking a meal step by step. The brain cannot simultaneously obsess and visualize. Refocusing starves anxious thoughts of attention. 2. Day review plus mental filing. One expert used a nightly technique that's borderline genius. While brushing his teeth, he mentally reviews the day's learning, almost like saving a file on a computer. Why it works? Creates closure, reduces mental clutter, reinforces memory, prepares the mind for rest. The mind sleeps better when it feels organized. 3. Mind dump journaling. We mentioned this earlier, but it deserves emphasis. This is the single most effective tool for removing worry, quieting racing thoughts, preventing "did I forget something?" spirals. Your brain relaxes once it sees your thoughts written down. It trusts the paper more than it trusts you. 4. Micro practices for calm. Small habits, big impact. Slow, intentional breathing. 1 minute of gratitude. Progressive relaxation. Guided relaxation. None of these require 20 minutes or monk-level discipline. They just give your brain structure. Across all experts, the message was identical. Stillness isn't the absence of thought. It's the ability to direct thought. Insight 9. The wind-down window. Your personal descent into sleep. Sleep is not a switch. It's a landing sequence. Airplanes descend in stages. So does your brain. Across creators and experts, a shared structure repeatedly surfaced: the 3-2-1 method. 3 hours before bed, stop eating. 2 hours before bed, reduce light, lower stimulation, prepare your environment. 1 hour before bed, shut down screens, no work, no emotional conversations, just drift into calm. Simple, predictable, scientifically aligned with your biological wind down. But there's more. Several experts emphasized the power down hour: dimming lights, light cleanup, mind dumping, reflection, gentle movement, reading, temperature adjustment. Not complicated, not dramatic, just a consistent series of steps your brain learns to interpret as "we are ending the day." One creator put it beautifully: a night routine is not about tasks, it's about transitions. Insight 10. The night you build shapes the life you live. This was the most unexpected finding across the research. A great night routine doesn't just give you better sleep, it gives you a better life. Experts repeatedly described improvements far beyond sleep: more emotional stability, better creativity, sharper decision-making, stronger patience, reduced stress, better parenting, higher productivity, consistent mornings. Why? Because nights shape mornings. Mornings shape days. Days shape identity. One creator summarized it perfectly. "My night routine makes me a better human." Another said, "Your morning routine is optional. Your night routine is destiny." When your nights improve, everything improves. Real stories of nighttime mastery. Sometimes the best way to understand these insights is to see them lived out in the real world. These aren't theories. They are patterns that shaped the success of people whose lives left a mark. Story 1. The Night Ritual That Built a President. Obama. Before he ever sat in the Oval Office, Barack Obama had a night ritual so steady it became legendary among staffers. No matter how chaotic the day was, meetings, crises, speeches, travel, Obama ended almost every night the same way: reading briefing folders, clearing his mind through quiet review, and mentally organizing the next day. He didn't go to sleep with open loops. He closed them. One staff member described it like this: "He walked into the morning already knowing the path. His night created his day." Obama often worked deep into the night, but his process was unwavering: reflect, plan, read, then sleep. It wasn't the hours that mattered. It was the architecture. He shaped tomorrow before tomorrow arrived. Story 2. The Athlete Who Used Stillness as a Weapon. Michael Jordan. At the height of his career, Michael Jordan was known for killer instinct, impossible focus, and superhuman performance. But few people know how much of that came from his nights. Jordan practiced a form of cognitive refocusing long before it had a name. After games, win or lose, he sat quietly, replaying moments, examining decisions, and mentally filing away lessons. He didn't carry emotional residue into the next day. He neutralized it. One trainer revealed, Jordan wasn't better because he slept more. He was better because he knew how to shut the world off. No screens, no noise, no chaos. His night routine wasn't glamorous. It was disciplined. And that discipline built a mental clarity that turned pressure into fuel. Story 3. The Founder Who Treated Nighttime Like a Strategy Meeting. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is widely known for his high IQ mornings, but what most people overlook is how ruthlessly he protects his nights. Bezos famously avoids late-night decisions, eliminates evening stress, and keeps his night routine deliberately simple. His rule is well known: nothing good happens after 10 p.m. when making decisions. He slows down the system. He transitions into low stimulation mode. He guards sleep like an investment because it is. He once said, 8 hours of sleep makes me a better executive. But the hidden truth is this: those 8 hours only existed because of predictable, calm, controlled evenings. Story 4. The President Who Used Nighttime Walks to Reset His Mind. Theodore Roosevelt. Theodore Roosevelt was a storm of energy: boxing, reading, writing, leading, speaking. But he also had a nighttime ritual most people never heard about: long, quiet walks. Roosevelt used walking as a transition ritual. No matter how intense his day was, he walked to shift his nervous system out of battle mode and into clarity. One historian described it as Roosevelt's moving meditation. During these walks, he processed the day, slowed his mind, and reconnected with calm. He wasn't escaping work, he was preparing for tomorrow. His nights refueled the fire that shaped his legendary days. Story 5. The CEO who treated sleep like a business asset. Arianna Huffington. Arianna Huffington literally collapsed from exhaustion in 2007. That moment didn't just scare her, it transformed her. She rebuilt her life around sleep. She created a strict nighttime shutdown routine. No screens before bed, dimmed lights, warm baths, deep reflection, and meditation. Huffington turned her bedroom into a sanctuary. She went from burnout to balance by redesigning her nights. Today she leads Thrive Global, a company dedicated to the exact principles you've just learned. Her turning point was simple. My life changed when I changed my nights. These are not superhumans. They're people who understood a truth hidden in plain sight. Nights create mornings, and mornings create lives. Story 6. The scientist who scheduled creativity. Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein is known for genius, but fewer people know how seriously he guarded his evenings. Einstein walked every night. Slow, rhythmic, quiet. These walks weren't exercise. They were neural organization. He let his mind drift just enough for ideas to surface, but not enough for stress to ignite. He famously avoided evening stimulation and believed that clarity came from stillness, not strain. His nights were intentionally simple. Walk, reflect, read, sleep. The breakthroughs came later, but they were born in the quiet. Story 7. The innovator who slept on problems and woke up with solutions. Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison treated nighttime like part of his laboratory. He often sat with a notebook in hand as he wound down, letting thoughts spill freely. Edison wasn't lazy. He understood cognitive unloading long before psychology proved it. He believed the mind needed space to connect dots, and he gave it that space through nightly review and reflection. One famous story describes Edison holding metal balls while drifting off. As he fell asleep, the balls dropped and woke him, capturing ideas in the state between wakefulness and sleep. It was his version of mind dumping and cognitive refocusing. He didn't fight his mind, he guided it. Story 8. The composer who used night rituals to protect creativity. Ludwig van Beethoven. Beethoven was notoriously intense, but his evenings were calm, predictable, and process-driven. Every night, he prepared coffee for the next morning, arranged his workspace, and put his home in order. He believed a clear environment led to a clear mind. He ended evenings with reflection, reviewing his compositions in silence, thinking through next steps, and giving his subconscious a roadmap to follow overnight. Beethoven understood a truth modern research now confirms. The brain continues solving problems while you sleep, but only if you give it direction. Story 9. The investor who refused to let the day follow him into bed. Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is one of the calmest thinkers in modern history, and it's not an accident. Buffett ends his evenings with quiet reading, gentle mental review, and deliberate emotional shutdown. He doesn't allow evening stress to contaminate the next day's thinking. He once said, "I insist on a good night's sleep. I don't compromise on it." His nights are simple, but they are fortified with boundaries. No late-night chaos, no emotional decision-making, no unnecessary stimulation. Buffett protects the clarity he's known for by protecting the nights that create it. Story 10. The visionary who treated nighttime like a reset button. Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs lived with extreme intensity during the day, but his nights were different. He used routine, reflection, and simplicity to create contrast. Jobs famously believed in minimalism, and that extended into his evenings. Dim lights, quiet spaces, no clutter, intentional wind down. Others saw it as quirky. Jobs saw it as essential. His nights were the operating system underneath the genius. He wasn't escaping from the day, he was clearing space for the next one. These stories aren't random. They reveal a blueprint shared across high performers, thinkers, athletes, creators, scientists, and leaders. They didn't wait for mornings to save them. They engineered their nights so their mornings could deliver. They lived the 10 insights you just learned, and you can too. Conclusion: the night you build determines the day you become. Let's zoom out. If there's one thing the research made impossible to ignore, it's this: a great day does not begin with the morning. It begins with the final hours of the night before. Across all 10 experts, different backgrounds, different methods, different philosophies, the same universal pattern kept resurfacing. Energy is earned the night before. Focus is earned the night before. Calm is earned the night before. Consistency is earned the night before. Identity is earned the night before. Your night isn't leftover time. It isn't the cool-down lap of your day. It isn't a random assortment of scrolling, snacking, and hoping for the best. Your night is design time. It is the quiet architecture that shapes who you are when the sun comes up. When you control your night, you control your morning. And when you control your morning, you control your life. Tonight, you learned the 10 insights shared across the experts. Insight 1. Your body thrives on rhythm. Insight 2. Light is the master switch of your biology. Insight 3. Closure calms the mind. Planning frees it. Insight 4. Your nervous system must shift into recovery mode. Insight 5. Your environment teaches your brain how to sleep. Insight 6. Ritual builds identity and consistency. Insight 7. Your inputs determine whether your system can shut down. Insight 8. Your mind needs direction, not silence. Insight 9. A wind-down window creates a smooth descent into rest. Insight 10. Better nights create better lives. These are not hacks. These are not fads. These are not nice if you have time. These are the biological, psychological, and behavioral foundations of a great next day. And the best part? You don't need all 10 at once. Choose one. Start tonight. Let tomorrow feel the difference. Then stack another and another. This is how change becomes identity. Because sleep isn't something you chase. Sleep is something you allow once you stop interrupting the systems designed to give it to you. And when your nights become intentional, your mornings become powerful. Your actions become consistent. Your growth becomes effortless. You become someone who leads your day instead of surviving it. The Research 10 Connection. Here's something most people never do. They never step back and notice the patterns. They never take 10 different voices and find the one truth behind all of them. They never distill the noise into something simple, clear, and actionable. But you just did. And if having hours of expert insights condensed into one clean, engaging breakdown helps you feel clearer, calmer, and more in control, then you're already the kind of thinker who belongs here. People who value clarity over clutter, insight over noise, growth over overwhelm. they tend to find their way to Research 10. So if this video unlocked something for you, just know there's more where that came from. Not because we simplify the world, but because we reveal the patterns that were already there. And once you start seeing those patterns, everything gets easier. This is Research 10, where we do the watching so you can do the growing.